The way we consume and share news today, it is largely rooted in social media outlets. The reason why it's crucial to look at what's being discussed online from the hottest issues to trends for our daily social media minute. We're joined by Erica in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
We've made it.
Yeah. It's cold.
I love it.
Yeah, I was just in the elevator and I overheard a conversation between two gentlemen saying, one of them said, I was wearing short sleeves yesterday. I was in a short sleeve t-shirt yesterday and he sort of looked a little bit sort of underdressed for this kind of weather.
Oh, no.
It's like, I'm freezing.
Yeah.
Why is it winter overnight?
Yeah. And the temperature gap is really big.
Yep.
So during the daytime, to be fair, it's a little bit warmer. So layers, many layers. Okay.
Good idea.
Let's jump into our first buzzword of the day. Now, it feels like the end of the year when you start predicting things for the coming year.
That's right.
But the time has come. Consumer trend expert, they do this every year. And the main author of Trend Korea 2024 anyway, says the key words for next year is Dragon Eyes.
That's right. So there was a media day event held for the new book, Trend Korea 2024. It was held at the Press Center in Seoul. And Professor Kim Nan-do, who is the leading author of the book and a professor at the Department of Consumer Studies at Seoul National University, he mentioned challenges like the never-ending war, extreme climate, unprecedented high prices, and competition with artificial intelligence, to be the challenges of 2024. And he also focused on the role and capacity of humans in the age of AI.
When you put it like that, the capacity of humans against AI, it's very humbling, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
All right, Trend Korea, just in case our listeners were rather unaware, is a book that is published every year. They make predictions about the coming year, what will be in trend. Professor Kim Nan-do and his team at SNU's Department of Consumer Science predicts what's going to be hot and relevant.
Yeah, exactly. For the upcoming year, the recently published Trend Korea 2024 emphasizes that while every book nowadays talks about artificial intelligence, AI cannot evaluate the results it produces. And ultimately, it is up to us humans to, decide whether to adopt the outcome and the results that artificial intelligence produces.
So we're like the final filter, if you will, the final editor of any important decision making. And if literally someone's life depends on it, why wouldn't you have all of these safety guards? And we're still needed in that department.
That's right. Now, Professor Kim, he repeatedly insisted that human intervention is necessary in the final stage. So, for instance, if artificial intelligence draws a dragon, the final touch on the dragon's eyes must be done by a human because artificial intelligence is really terrible at the details, So it really is a 활용점정 situation. Now, this four-character idiom literally means drawing the dragon and dotting the dragon eyes last. And the expression refers to adding the most important finishing touches to finish a task.
Okay. The trend keyword for 2024, Dragon Eyes, it certainly makes sense. I thought it was just another acronym.
Yeah, I know. I actually went on to Google this morning and typed in Dragon Eyes and I got just a whole bunch of dragon eyes, the drawings of dragon eyes.
See, even Google search, I mean, they have so much data and information and it didn't give you this. This is what you were looking for.
Yeah. That's right.
All right. So this keyword emphasizes the final touches that needs to be completed by humans, essentially.
Exactly.
What other keywords were mentioned at the Media Day event?
So I'm going to mention a few.
Okay.
Minute-second society was another trend word for next year. Minute-second society. This term reflects a social tendency where every minute and every second is precious, and the cost-effectiveness of time is really important in this day and age. Professor Kim explained that people these days do not just do one thing. They do multiple things at the same time. They value their time as if it's gold.
Okay.
And, while money used to be, this is what he said, while money used to be more important than time, nowadays they're considered equally important, or time is even seen as more important in some cases.
I mean, a lesson learned by maybe previous generations. And now we have the privilege of multitasking better than the generations that came before. So why not take advantage of it? I don't know. Minute-second society sounds like a lot for me though. It feels like you're like counting down to the seconds to plan your day, and that stresses me out.
That's how a lot of people live. That's why there is so much stress in our society.
I was gonna say, I mean, not that, if this is the way you live, who am I to judge? But it just feels so stressful for me. Maybe not seconds. I think hourly is fine.
Yeah.
What other keywords?
Another one, this is interesting. Hexagonal human was another keyword for next year. 육각형 인간. So this term refers to individuals who are striving to be perfect in every aspect, including their appearance, education, assets, job, family background, and personality. And Professor Kim introduced this as a trend that reveals the near obsessive perfectionism that our society aims for today.
I sit here
Thoughts,
so uncomfortably because, I don't blame today's society because I think some people are just wired to be slightly more perfection driven. Sometimes it works against you. Sometimes it's good, but it's a balance of trying to see what's enough, right?
Yeah.
Because
there is no such thing as perfection.
There
And just,
isn't.
just talking about this, the perfect hexagonal human gives me stress,
Maybe these trends highlight exactly why Seoulites are so stressed out, and we are very image obsessed, and now it's multidimensional in every way, in family and jobs. I mean, these are noble pursuits, but I hope it doesn't deplete everyone's morals.
These keywords are supposed to reflect what our society is all about.
Man, this mirror is really painful. Okay.
Now, some others include spin-off projects, projects that try new businesses with low budgets and flexible strategies. Ditto consumption was another one. Ditto consumption fully reflects a person's values and preferences. Liquidpolitan was another interesting one. It refers to somebody who pursues a nomadic lifestyle, a lifestyle that's more flexible.
Free-flowing.
Yes, exactly. And care economy was another one. This care economy sort of seeking to systemize care more than we do now, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like healthcare, for example? That might be one of the...
aging society, all that.
Okay, so I mean, every year Trend Korea it's a book, but guys, I mean, there's so many trends to cover, but those are some of the key ones. I'm sure we'll have weeks and weeks to take this apart and say what's good, what's not. Should we be reflecting on where our society has come? Like, I think striving for higher grounds as far as your projects, your goals, that's great, but perfectionism and obsessing over it.
And you know what? I'm really curious about what our listeners have to say about these new trend keywords for 2024.
I feel like there might be a divide between locals and non-locals. Let us know. I mean, do you think Seoulites are more inclined to strive for perfectionism? The fact that I'm obsessing over this, I think it hits a nerve. Because don't act like it doesn't hit a nerve for you too.
Oh, it totally does.
Okay. All right, on to our second buzzword of the day. How much influence does pop culture have? That's a fascinating question, but we could have the discussion for the remaining of the hour. Now, experts are chiming in saying that TV shows highlighting the challenges of parenting, child rearing, and the difficulties of marriage might not be such a positive thing for South Korea's sad birth rate.
Yeah, experts are saying that these TV shows might actually be hindering South Korea's efforts to overcome low birth rates. Experts have proposed that they say there is a need for long-term campaigns that convey family-friendly messages through the media. So there was a forum that was held yesterday. The Low Birth Rate and Aging Society Committee held discussions on changes in perception on marriage these days and childbirth, as well as the role of the media in all of this. Yoo Jae-eun, who is a member of the Youth Policy Coordination Committee for the Government Policy Coordination, pointed out by giving an example of one particular TV show that everybody knows, actually, My Golden Kid.
Kim Jo-gi.
Yes, exactly. And she noted how there are so many negative messages about marriage and childbirth in the media these days. And her main point was this. People might be watching these TV shows and they could think, parenting could be a little bit too much for me. Or, raising a child is so costly these days. Am I going to be able to afford all that money, to raise my child? And maybe even the message that society these days is not safe.
The thing is, I do limit myself to watching maybe like an episode a week as opposed to, because I mean, you can stream it and there are also, clippets of it online.
On YouTube.
So readily available. And if you watch too many episodes back to back, it is a little bit discouraging and overwhelming.
I mean, the whole point, the premise of this particular TV show is to show kids who are
problematic or
rebellious
have issues.
Or, they're acting out and, sort of a little bit out of the ordinary.
The thing is, if you have a little bit of, I don't know, a perspective, knowing exactly what the TV show is aiming for, and if you're full-grown adults like both you and I, then maybe you'll have a filter to remind yourself that's not the entirety of South Korean society. But I can see how if someone is overwhelmed and they watch a show back to back, it could be, again, very depleting. So this TV show you mentioned, My Golden Kid, is about veteran parenting experts coaching parents on parenting methods, reflecting the latest trends. But you're right. They start with parents or kids who have a little bit of issues.
Yeah. And again, yesterday's forum was about, experts coming together, and they agreed on the need to brand policies to respond to South Korea's low birth rate.
Okay.
They said the media needs to, maybe perhaps show the more positive sides of marriage, childbirth, and parenting. I mean, it's difficult. If they overdo it, the viewers are just going to turn away and say, oh, that's just totally not realistic.
Sometimes we forget TV shows, even news shows. I mean, we're driven by ratings. And for a show to be less attractive and just have all the positive messages, it doesn't sell. And not to say that legitimizes the amount of exposure these shows get, but the balance is really, really tricky.
So the show is basically about conflict resolution, right? Conflict solution. People they're interested. They're fascinated by how conflict is resolved, but they're also fascinated by the conflict itself.
Of course.
Right?
That's what draws you in.
Yeah, that's television. It's entertainment.
I think that point needs to be just highlighted. It's television. It's edited to be that. And if that was the entirety of society, my goodness, how would we ever survive? I don't think it's fair to play the blame game. Let's blame the TV shows. Yeah. But I can see that given the platform that this was, right? It was the low birth rate committee.
That's right.
And they want to talk about how to better address a declining birth rate. So there you have it. Maybe they can do longer programs. I always thought like 1 or 2 episodes on each family each problem child was not enough.
Good point.
I don't know. Or do a follow-up maybe months later and see how much progress that they're making.
Yeah.
Why am I doing their jobs for them? All right, on to our final story today. And so I'm sure you've seen headlines, images. Sushi terrorism pranks are prompting Japanese chains to turn to cartoon conveyor belts.
Yeah, so, you've probably all seen it on the news, but there was news a few months back, actually. This one particular Japanese sushi chain, it was the target of a series of pranks, and that sparked public concern over hygiene at these types of restaurants, like conveyor belt sushi restaurants. And so now they've come up with a solution. Instead of placing edible sushi on a rotating conveyor belt for customers to pick up as they pass them, 3 of these stores of this particular franchise are going to play sort of an animation on a touch screen fitted to each table. 2 customers can share one screen. So customers can order their sushi by tapping on screens, showing cartoon sushi and other food. And then after that, after they tap, the sushi is going to be delivered to their table on a separate conveyor belt from the kitchen. And the company said it began piloting this, they calling it the next generation shop experience. They did the pilot run on Tuesday at 3 stores in Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya.
And I wonder how the public felt. Did the consumers love it? Did they not?
Yeah, some customers appreciated the effort to improve hygiene, but others worried the move could sort of like, I don't know, it take away the essence of traditional conveyor belt style dining experience. I mean, that's the whole fun of it, right?
Right. The conveyor belt keeps going.
Exactly.
I mean, there's boat versions of it, and you're supposed to pick up your food, and that's half the fun. You put a virtual experience in it, feels a little bit different, more like a game now.
Maybe this is just the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we've arrived. This is the future.
Years down the road, we're going to be saying, oh, remember that time there were these like conveyor sushi restaurants and, sushi used to travel, rotate.
Yes.
And we could actually pick our own sushi. Well, anyways.
Sometimes I go to grocery stores, you know how they have samples, right? And I was thinking this all along, and that's because I'm kind of a neat freak. And I thought, is that hygienic? Like for everyone to be reaching for the samples? But I would hate to see them rob us of the experience. So I just keep my mouth shut. Thank you so much, Erica.
Pleasure.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
If you're listening to our program using the podcast service, just a reminder that we do go live Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Korea Standard Time. So tune in and help us make the show more informative by giving us your input. See you bright and early on Good Morning Seoul.